The Stonehenge is a prehistoric monument in Wiltshire, one of the most recognizable monoliths of the late Neolithic period, built some 5,000 years ago.
For millennia, Stonehenge has loomed over the English plains, a silent puzzle carved from ancient stone. Archaeologists have offered theories, historians have argued, mystics filled in the gaps with imagination. Yet the real reason it was built, and what it was truly designed to do, remained out of reach.
That we now know that Stonehenge was part of a much larger superstructure.
But now, for the first time, an advanced AI has processed nearly 5,000 years of evidence, every survey, excavation record, astronomical alignment, and geological sample we've ever collected. And its conclusions are sending shockwaves through the scientific world. According to the system, Stonehenge wasn't a standalone monument at all. It was one component of a much larger, interconnected ancient structure. After running deep geological models, sky mapping simulations, and cross-referencing global archaeological data, the AI exposed something no one had expected. Stonehenge shares the same level of precision and cosmic alignment found in ancient sites across the world. If the data is accurate, then the old explanations start to fall apart. Stonehenge wasn't just a temple. It wasn't just a calendar. It wasn't simply an observatory. It was a mechanism, a deliberate, engineered system built for a purpose far stranger and far more unsettling than we ever imagined: the impossible origins. For generations, scholars argued over whether glaciers or sheer human effort moved the massive stones of Stonehenge. But the AI ended that debate by analysing thousands of archaeological records. Geological surveys, excavation logs, transport studies, and environmental data were fed into its system. It wasn't guessing. It was detecting patterns buried in a sea of information no human could ever process alone. Experts already believed the smaller bluestones, each weighing several tons, came from whales. But the AI's geochemical matching system spotted something no researcher could have seen with the naked eye. The mineral signature of the altar stone didn't match any quarry in Wales. When the system compared its elemental fingerprint to sandstone formations across Britain, it found the closest match far to the northeast, in Scotland's ancient Orcadian Basin, hundreds of miles away. This breakthrough only emerged because the AI cross-checked geochemical samples, sediment records, provenance data, and decades of published field research all at once. But the real shock came when the system began running its deeper pattern recognition models. These models had been trained on environmental physics data, magnetic field readings, archaeological acoustics, and engineering reconstructions of ancient structures. When the AI combined all of this information, it found something unexpected. Stonehenge's stone choices mirrored the principles of material resonance. The AI wasn't saying Stonehenge was a literal machine. What it uncovered was a deliberate, repeated pattern. Stones taken from different regions had distinct magnetic, acoustic, and mineral qualities, and when simulated together, they produced highly specific interactions. The results were far too precise and coordinated to be random. According to the AI's model, the stones weren't selected for ceremony, symbolism, or aesthetics. They behaved like components chosen for function, as if part of a designed system. The AI reached this conclusion by layering geochemical origins, magnetic behavior, and acoustic response, connecting all of it through advanced pattern analysis. Once those data streams were merged, the implication was impossible to ignore. The Neolithic builders of Stonehenge may have understood the physical properties of certain stones and their relationship to the earth far better than modern scholars ever imagined. If that's true, then Stonehenge isn't just a monument. It's a kind of giant circuit, a structure built from multi-ton stones aligned to mysterious points in the cosmos. That idea alone is staggering. But the next layer of the AI's discovery is even more unsettling. It's not just about what Stonehenge is made of or where it's aligned. It's about the invisible energy it produces. For years, visitors have reported strange sensations: a low hum, a pressure in the air, a feeling of something vibrating through them. Most people assumed it was their imagination. The AI suggests otherwise and says it was intentional. Think about what that means. An entire population exposed to a constant, inaudible frequency capable of triggering fear, awe, or anxiety. A perfect tool for controlling minds and emotions. The AI itself didn't offer any theories because it doesn't speculate. It only highlights patterns, correlations, and anomalies. The interpretations came from the researchers studying its output. When they reviewed the AI's behavioral models, magnetic maps, and acoustic simulations, they arrived at a chilling idea. If certain stone arrangements could measurably alter human perception, sound, and atmosphere, then Stonehenge might not have been built just for rituals or astronomy. Under specific conditions, it could have been used to influence crowds, to stir fear, enforce obedience, or create an overwhelming sense of divine power. The builders weren't just architects. They understood acoustics, magnetism, and human psychology on a level we never expected. They may have created a weapon of mass influence, capable of shaping the emotions of thousands at once. The strange energy people still feel today might be nothing more than an echo, a faint leftover of the monument's original unsettling purpose, the Stonehenge Code. And the deeper researchers looked, the stranger Stonehenge became. The AI's structural findings were only the beginning. Because in late summer 2024, a team led by Anthony Clark at Curtin University published a study that quietly overturned one of the oldest assumptions about the monument. They focused on something tiny, microscopic mineral grains inside fragments of the altar stone. But what those grains revealed changed everything. Using high-precision mass spectrometry at the John DeLater Center, the team found that the minerals inside the altar stone were unbelievably ancient. Some were between 1 and 2 billion years old, while others dated to around 450 million years. That unusual mix of ages formed a chemical signature found in only one place on Earth, the old red sandstone of Scotland's Orcadian Basin, not Wales, and nowhere near southern England. The implications were immediate. Dr. Robert Ixer of University College London called the results genuinely shocking. Professor Chris Kirkland explained why. Transporting a 6-ton block from northeastern Scotland to southern England would have been nearly impossible by land. Which means Neolithic engineers almost certainly used the sea, navigating hundreds of kilometres of rugged coastline with boats, tides, and maritime skills far more advanced than we ever imagined. And this stone wasn't a one-off anomaly. It fit into a larger, deliberate pattern across the British Isles. Bluestones from Wales, sarsens from Marlborough, sandstone from Scotland. Materials gathered from distant regions, each chosen for specific physical or cultural reasons. Researcher Richard Bevins summarized the breakthrough simply. They had finally identified the chemical fingerprint of one of the world's most famous stones. And that fingerprint revealed a society with complex trade networks and surprisingly advanced organization. But Stonehenge's sophistication becomes even more striking once acoustics enter the picture. In 2020, acoustical engineer Trevor Cox and his team at the University of Salford created the most detailed acoustic reconstruction of Stonehenge ever attempted. They built a precise 1:12 scale model using 3D printed stones that matched the original layout with remarkable accuracy, then placed the model in a specially designed acoustic chamber. This setup allowed them to test how voices, instruments, and natural sounds behaved inside Stonehenge without any modern noise interference. Their recordings revealed that Stonehenge created a completely unique sound environment. Inside the circle, sound reverberated for just over half a second, enriching voices and enhancing music, while the effect vanished instantly outside the stones. The monument produced an enclosed acoustic world unlike anything people would have experienced in their daily lives. Neolithic homes were quiet, open landscapes scattered sound, and forests absorbed it. But inside Stonehenge, even simple speech became fuller and more powerful. Drums and rhythmic instruments generated deep vibrations that seemed to wrap around the listener. Even more surprising was the lack of echo. Despite all the stone surfaces, there were no sharp reflections. The inner stones interrupted sound from the outer ring, eliminating echoes entirely and creating a carefully controlled acoustic environment. This wasn't accidental. It suggested intentional engineering. Rupert Till, an acoustics researcher and musicologist, expanded this research by studying the Welsh bluestones themselves. Some of these stones literally ring when struck, producing metallic tones. Their source region in Wales is even called Maen Clochog, meaning ringing stones. His models revealed that their arrangement inside Stonehenge also created low-frequency resonance, infrasound, a deep vibration below the level of conscious hearing. People don't hear infrasound, but they feel it. It can trigger awe, unease, sadness, or even fear. When all these findings were combined, the message became clear. Stonehenge wasn't just enhancing sound or music. Its design allowed it to generate and sustain low-frequency vibrations that interacted with the human body. The researchers concluded that the monument was engineered to produce powerful sensory effects that could influence emotion and perception on a massive scale. It may have served as a controlled environment where sound shaped ritual experience and the psychological state of those inside. And when this acoustic engineering is paired with the long-distance transport networks proven by the altar stone analysis, a consistent picture emerges. Stonehenge was never a simple stone circle. It was a precisely crafted environment created by people with far more knowledge, coordination, and engineering ability than history once acknowledged. It was built to be experienced, seen, heard, and physically felt. And this section of the research shows just how advanced that sophistication truly was. The celestial trigger. This is where the AI's analysis shifted from impressive to unsettling. The system cross-referenced the exact placement of Stonehenge's stones with reconstructed star maps from roughly 5,000 years ago. Everyone already knew about the solstice alignments. But the AI detected another alignment, far more subtle and far more unusual. It didn't follow the path of the sun or the moon. It pointed directly toward a single, mathematically empty region of the sky. When the AI compared this alignment to ancient star positions, it calculated a high probability that this orientation was intentional. The AI couldn't explain why it was built this way. It can only present geometry, placement, and probability. Interpreting the meaning was up to the researchers. When the team examined the AI's pattern maps, the weight of the implications hit them. The layout didn't resemble a simple ceremonial circle. It looked like a structure designed for a specific purpose. The AI then produced a second model focused on acoustics. It showed that Stonehenge forms a natural resonant chamber, capable of amplifying deep, low-frequency sound. The AI simply reported how the stones behaved physically. The interpretations belonged to the researchers, and to them, the geometry and acoustic behavior hinted at something far more deliberate, a tool, a structure designed to influence how a crowd might feel, react, or even submit under the right conditions. This led the team to a deeper question. Who could have designed something this complex? And why attempt it at all? For generations, the popular view was that Stonehenge symbolized unity, that people from across ancient Britain came together to build a shared monument. It was an optimistic, comforting idea. But once the AI processed the complete archaeological record and ran simulations of prehistoric social organization, a very different picture emerged. The system showed that a structure requiring such precision, such enormous labor, and such long-term construction was statistically unlikely to be the result of scattered tribes working cooperatively. The math pointed instead to a powerful, centralized authority, one capable of organizing, directing, and sustaining massive labor forces over many generations. The AI never defined what that authority was. It didn't claim it was a kingdom or an empire. It simply demonstrated the scale of coordination needed. The rest came from the research team. If such a hierarchy existed, then stones brought from far-flung regions were not symbols of harmony. They were signs of control, possibly tribute taken from subordinate groups, or materials moved through force and obligation. To the researchers, this suggested a society ruled by a small, knowledgeable elite, people who understood astronomy, geology, acoustics, and human psychology well enough to command thousands. The AI never said fear held this system together. It never claimed Stonehenge was a weapon. Those conclusions were human interpretations, drawn from the stark logistical realities of the monument. What remained undeniable was the cost, the immense human effort required to create it. The AI estimated that building Stonehenge required the labor of thousands of people working over several generations. It revealed a monument that demanded extraordinary sacrifices from the society that created it. There were no signs of war camps, battlefields, or massive fortifications. Instead, there was evidence of something far more controlled, perfect, coordinated organization. The AI exposed the structure. The researchers provided the interpretation. Together, they uncovered the outline of a society with remarkable knowledge and remarkable power. Somewhere within the fusion of stone, sound, and sky was a purpose no algorithm could fully decode. That final question belonged only to human imagination. What event were they preparing for? And more unsettling, what arrival were they expecting? The lunar standstill. In January 2025, something extraordinary happened. Something that occurs only once every 18.6 years. A major lunar standstill. And for the first time in nearly 2 decades, researchers had the perfect opportunity to test whether Stonehenge was intentionally designed to mark this rare lunar event. From April 2024 through mid-2025, teams from Oxford, Leicester, and Bournemouth universities, working with English Heritage and the Royal Astronomical Society, began an unprecedented series of observations at Stonehenge. Dr. Fabio Silva, a senior lecturer in archaeological modelling at Bournemouth University, explains that during the major lunar standstill, the moon was expected to line up with the station stone rectangle twice a month from around February 2024 to November 2025. The station stones, 4 massive blocks forming a rectangle around the main stone circle, appear to align perfectly with the moon's most extreme positions during the standstill. Professor Clive Ruggles of the University of Leicester added, "These 4 stones match the moon's extreme points in the sky, and for years researchers have debated whether this alignment was intentional. If it was, how did the builders achieve it, and what purpose did it serve?" And this is where the discovery becomes truly unsettling. During a major lunar standstill, the moon rises and sets at points on the horizon the sun never touches. For early farming societies who relied on the sun's rhythms to know when to plant and harvest, watching the moon push beyond those boundaries would have felt extraordinary, almost supernatural. Events like this happened only once every 18 to 19 years, so a major standstill wasn't just rare, it was generational. People who witnessed it might have carried the story through decades, passing it down as a moment when the lunar deity seemed to overpower the solar one. It may have sparked huge festivals, part religious, part spiritual, part social, marking a time when the sky behaved differently. But there's a darker layer. The 56 Aubrey holes, shallow pits dug into the earth where cremated remains were discovered, line up with the moon's southernmost rise during the standstill. That alignment hints at rituals far more somber, suggesting the event wasn't only celebrated, but possibly marked with ceremonies involving the dead. Even more unsettling is what archaeologists found next. Many of the cremated remains cluster in the southeastern area of Stonehenge, right beside 3 pits that probably once held wooden posts. Posts that seem to line up with the moon's extreme southern rise during a major lunar standstill. When the monument's massive stones were first set in place around 2005 BCE, the ancient builders deliberately positioned the 4 station stones in this very spot. The long axis formed by these stones appears to match the Moon's most southerly rising point. Was this incredible accuracy a matter of astronomy, religion, or something else entirely? Some recurring cosmic event they felt compelled to acknowledge or prepare for? Dr. Amanda Chadburn of Oxford's Kellogg College explained, "We want to understand what it was like to witness these extreme moonrises and moonsets and how their light and shadows played across the stones." Heather Sabir, a senior curator with English Heritage, added that certain blue stones reflect moonlight in striking ways, which may have influenced why they were chosen. Suddenly, the AI's hypothesis doesn't feel so speculative after all. If Stonehenge was built to track a repeating cosmic cycle, and if the site truly produces powerful infrasound when its acoustics are activated, then the 2024 to 2025 major lunar standstill could be the first time in living memory when all of Stonehenge's possible functions might operate at once. This idea is sometimes called the unification theory. In December 2024, archaeologist Mike Parker Pearson of UCL released a groundbreaking study arguing that the people who built Stonehenge weren't just sky watchers or spiritual visionaries. They were political strategists. His research shows that many of the stones were brought from far-flung regions across Britain, Scotland, Wales, southern England, and that this wide geographic spread was intentional. According to Parker Pearson, Stonehenge was created as a monument of unity, pulling together distant communities during a period of major social change. His decades of fieldwork suggest this effort coincided with increasing contact from continental Europe, from areas that are now Germany and the Netherlands, at a time when new cultures and new genetics were reshaping the British Isles. Seen from this perspective, Stonehenge wasn't only a spiritual or astronomical centre. It was a declaration of shared identity, a physical symbol meant to bring the island's people together. In Parker Pearson's view, Stonehenge wasn't just built for worship, it was built for alliance, for belonging. And if he's right, its ultimate purpose was as deliberate and monumental as its stones, political, social, and meant to endure forever. This is where everything comes together, and honestly, it becomes difficult to wrap your head around. We're looking at an ancient mechanism built by a powerful and largely unknown elite, engineered to evoke fear, awe, and anticipation, and aimed directly at a dark point in the sky. The AI was given one final question. Why? What was the true purpose behind this monumental creation? The artificial intelligence combed through every scrap of data. It mapped the monument's astronomical alignments, analysed its acoustic behaviour, and identified the geological origins of each stone. It found that Stonehenge's layout aligns, far beyond coincidence, with a single celestial target, and that its stones produce concentrated low-frequency sound. These results came straight from math, physics, acoustics, and geochemistry. But the AI never speculated about meaning. It gave the facts, nothing more. Interpreting those facts, that was left to the humans. The research team noticed that the combination of astronomical precision, resonant sound, and deliberate stone choice could point in several directions. Maybe the builders were creating a structure that interacted with natural forces. Maybe they wanted to shape human perception during ceremonies inside the circle. Or maybe they were synchronizing these effects with recurring cosmic cycles. Anything beyond that, rituals, warnings, protection, or amplification, came solely from human interpretation, not from the AI. The machine provided the data. The people constructed the story. By keeping that line clear, the team could explore every possible purpose without pretending the AI had intentions or imagination. So what does this all mean? According to the AI's analysis, Stonehenge isn't a crude temple. It's a highly engineered system. Its sound patterns are measurable. Its astronomical alignments are intentional. Its stones were chosen as if each one played a specific role in a larger mechanism built to activate under certain conditions. The recent major lunar standstill has already confirmed several alignments, and researchers are still studying the rest. But if Stonehenge truly functions as a clock counting down cosmic cycles, what happens when that countdown ends? The stones may have been sending a message all along. The real question is, are we ready to understand it? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into one of humanity's greatest mysteries, hit subscribe. There are countless ancient enigmas still waiting to be uncovered. And remember, the past wasn't primitive. Sometimes it was far more advanced than we ever imagined.